Hello everyone and welcome to the next episode in my series of VOD reviews. Now today, this VOD review is going to be a little bit different, particularly because for some reason when I downloaded the replay from OPGG, it started at 13 minutes. So instead of focusing on the laning phase, which is most likely over by now, I haven't viewed the video yet, so that hopefully I can give you some fresh commentary on without knowing what's going to happen. So we're going to focus on the mid game and the late game, particularly on vision control and team fighting, right? Zyra in team fights is, I feel like different than most supports because most of your abilities are damaging abilities with a few crowd control abilities, but especially a lot of the times you're playing to kind of zone people out with your damage. So it's a little different than most things, so I want to draw attention to it. So today, this video is going to be on team fighting and vision control, map movement, stuff like that. So before we even get to the video, I want to talk about this Zyra player and what they are running for this game. So this is the Zyra player 123J Jowie on Korea server, Masters right now. Check the video description if you want to get the OPGG link. All right. So skill order is Emax, then Q, then W. Is fairly standard. I sometimes put extra points in Q if I really want to be aggressive in the lane, but a lot of people will do early Emax, so nothing particularly notable there. However, in the runes, there's something very, very notable. Particularly, all right, so health runs the same thing I do. Glyphs runs the same thing I do. But in runes, they run 4 attack speed quint. All right. So what this does is it lets you attack a little more quickly. It can help especially for last hitting under turret. I do not see a reason for it to be run as support. So curious to see whether this is something or something that it was game, but it's probably something they do very often, or maybe it's just reused from Zyra mid page. Finally, armor quints are very standard. I use them fairly often, but not all the time. And ability power is the third quint, which again I think is kind of strange. If you're gonna go penetration in your glyphs, I think you should also go penetration in your quints. That being said, going ability power in both quints and glyphs is also strong, but it's strange to kind of do a mix. So not sold on these runes. Also running attack speed and the masteries, which is very, very bizarre opposed to ability power damage. Fresh blood is very good on Zyra. It's what I recommend. Natural talent is what I recommend. Double-edged sword is also what I recommend. Wonder is what Secret stash, yep. Meditation, yep. Bandit, I like to run Greenfather's Gift a lot, but most people run Bandit, so I've been running Intelligence recently. Precision's also good, so nothing really noteworthy in the masteries except for, again, this is like attack speed. On that note, if you're running attack speed, it can be very good to run hybrid penetration arcs instead. Pretty useful stat, especially for your early laning phase, which unfortunately we aren't going to see in this game. So that's enough about that. Runes and masteries, we know what they are. Let's get into the game, see where we're at. So it's about 13 minutes again. Yeah, OPGG replay starts from there, so that's all we're going to be able to do. And Zyra is in the very, very sweet spot right now of actually just having lost her turret, unfortunately, and is 2-1-4 with some Sork boots and Eye of the Watchers. This is a very typical thing you'll see from me as well in the early game. If it's going well, get Eye of the Watchers for the CDR, Sork boots for the magic penetration. The movement speed is also really nice. Sork boots is also, a lot of people go back and forth between the Sork boots and the mobility boots question. Sork boots are going to pay a lot of dividends against this team comp. Look, Brand Twitch is a very squishy bottom lane, so having that extra penetration is going to make you really, really able to blow them up. Furthermore, the only other people on their team are Cassin and Graves, who aren't going to be building any MR. Renekton, who usually doesn't build MR until later, and you can see these probably going for some Merc treads right now. especially against Syndra, Zyra, Pantheon, Ashe. Yeah, these are almost definitely Merc treads, and he might not even build more MR after that. Who knows? We probably should, but most Renekton's don't necessarily. So pretty standard early build. Let's see where the game is right now. Kind of harassing the Graves, getting some gold, stopping the Raptors as best as can. Going on for a dive. All right, not much to comment about the Zyra team fighting there. So I'm gonna take a little bit to jump into this replay and really catch up with the flow of the game. But kind of over diving, but they have a numbers advantage, so it shouldn't have anything to worry about. I should also comment on one more thing. Zyra is running Exhaust this game, which is an interesting decision. Exhaust is very, very good against these champions, but Ignite is fantastic against Brand to snowball the lane. So Exhaust or Ignite kind of always comes down to, you know, do you want to snowball the lane, or do you think you even can snowball the lane? If not, you should run Exhaust because it is much, much better in team fight. That being said, I am extremely surprised that he did not Exhaust right when this Renekton teleported in. This is one of those situations that happens a lot, where when you have a numbers advantage, you might think, okay, you know, we're going to get this kill. I don't need to waste Exhaust. But in that situation, the worst thing you can do is give up a turn kill. And it looks like Syndra's going to die. Let's see this teleport play kind of come out. So they're diving Twitch. He's dead. They used almost, they used Pantheon. Obviously, Pantheon ult's not much in a team fight, but they did use the Evelyn ult. All right. Zyra still has everything up. Oh, she doesn't have Exhaust. That is why. Syndra's getting jumped on, enemy team's helping him up, and they have no vision of these two guys roaming up. So that's why they're committing to this fight, even with the Syndra really, really low. Syndra does not have ultimate either. It's looking like to be a pretty bad fight. It's going to be really important for Zyra to have a good ultimate here. Only has one seed effort. Kassadin backs away. This is a really tempting thing to do as Zyra, and it's really bad. Not to newly flame this player I've discovered, but he's ulting right on top of the teleporter Renekton. Damage is going to be almost nothing on the Renekton. He doesn't care. The ult, the knockup, going to be almost nothing. He doesn't care. He probably is going to slice and dice out of it unless she timed it perfectly. So this ult is practically wasted. This is especially one of those situations where you have to use your ult intelligently, use it over your plants, and use it to get something done. If you just use your ultimate on a single target with no plants, you're not really using it. In a lot of cases, it's better to die without using it early on when you don't have a lot of CDR than it is to kind of waste it in this situation. All right, so there is one Q plant actually to hit. But again, all she got out of this was the damage. Very little zoning. Kassadin is going to walk around. And if instead she had saved it to use with W, this plant was over here, and use this passive seed over here, then there could be a lot of zoning on the squishier Graves and the very squishy Brand. And then they could have kited back and dealt with a Kassadin, which would have been a lot better. Oh yeah, Syndra is dying. Oh, and everybody's dying. It's not even close. All right. So. The fight was kind of in a bad place in the first place, but the Zyra ult was quite bad. Let's see where
Red team's turret has
died
been
to
destroyed.
minion. Okay, that's questionable. Either way, meanwhile, while all that time was happening, Ashe took the bottom turret, and again, there's no vision control for them in the river, so they have no idea that this Brand's looping around. Ashe is gonna have to be really careful. That's definitely on Zyra, not having that round. She has Eye of the Watchers, plenty of wards, and she chose to get vision right here and right here. Probably somebody else, right? Yes, it is, because it's a trinket. So if your AD carry is, and she was down here, right? If your AD carry is pushing up bottom lane, you need to give her some river vision. Not to mention, if she at least warded over here, then they could have seen the Bran and the Graves coming up. Although, couldn't have warded here necessarily because you saw the Graves at Raze. But again, if you see the Graves at Raze, you know he's just going to come kill you when you're fighting up here, and the Cassidon's going up there. All right, so Ashe is probably dead. Let's see what happens and kind of focus on what does Zyra need to do at this point. So out of this. Evelyn is just letting him die. Bran with a spam laugh. Okay, what does Zyra need to do? Looking down the map, Ashe is ahead, which is nice. Zyra is ahead, which is nice. Syndra is doing well. And Pantheon is about even. Jungle is about even as well. They have the turret advantage, however. So what they need to do is start playing around turrets. And since Rift Herald is still up, the best thing is to play topside and get vision when safe in the enemy jungle. Pressure mid turret, pressure top turret, and try to get vision control over Rift Herald, because if they can take it, it'll help them break the inner turret line. Outer turrets are usually pretty easy to clear if you have an advantage, and inner turrets take a lot more work. Before I go into this fight that's coming up, I want to talk a bit more about this because it's very important. Especially when you have a split pusher like Pantheon. Pantheon is his ultimate and he has teleport, so this guy can split. I don't think Renekton, I don't know the top lane matchup too well, but I'm fairly confident that he can hold his own against Renekton right now. So if they're pressuring mid and top, then the only thing that remains is bot lane. Renekton should be can be going bot lane while they make plays around mid and top and Rift Herald. And this is especially important because whenever possible, this is not always possible, but whenever possible, you always want to be getting 3 lanes of farm. And I suppose this isn't too important for Zyra support, which is what the video is primarily about, but it's something to be aware of. Every lane that doesn't have somebody in it is losing farm and experience. Okay, so what are they doing? They're collapsing on the Renekton. So in this situation, it is extremely important that you not go in too early as Zyra. This guy can kill you before you kill him, and you will kill him eventually in a 2v1. The question is, do you also die? So what she needs to be doing is she wants to try to make this happen, but also needs to stay behind the Pantheon to save her E for chain CCing and Pantheon stun, and do not use the ultimate unless she has to. See what happens. All right, so she actually led with the root, which maybe she had to do in order to start the fight, and let's see what happens. She has the ward. She knows Graves is coming. She's going to stay in the back, helping the Pantheon. And it's at this moment where she realizes, oh, I'm screwed. And this is really, really interesting, right? Because she had this Syndra coming up this way, but the Cassidon, once the Syndra saw the Cassidon, Syndra said, no thanks, I'm out. And so Zyra's all alone. She's going to have to, no, she has no flash. She's going to have to die. Pops the exhaust. It's set up for a really, really nice combo here. She almost certainly will die, but she might be able to get something really, really good off beforehand. So her E is, this is off cooldown. So, all right, it's kind of bugged with the spectator. There it is, the EW. Watch her to tag with the ult next, preferably ulting closer to her, so it really punishes them if they go into it. All right, she managed to survive. Might use the ultimate, which is up. Interesting. Oh, well played. I was also wrong about her dying. Just get away in time. It looks like she's going for the Leandries next, which again is really solid. Penetration is going to do a lot for her in this game against these squishy targets. Again, the only MR on the enemy team is these Merc Treads. Amp Tome, a really, really late refillable potion. Refillable potions are good, but like 16 minutes is a bit late for it. All right, they did get the Rift Herald again. I was talking so long about playing top and getting Rift Herald, and it's good to see that they did that. So again, it's going to be kind of more of the same. But now if they choose to play around bottom, they can. They kind of have choices because all their waves are in pretty good spots right now. Dragon's also up in... I have no idea how. Dragon's going to be up. And blue buff is alive. And furthermore, they know blue buff is alive. It'd be really nice to play bot side around the blue buff, but since Ashe is top and recalling, there's really very little chance. Zyra got spotted by the ward. She has to be careful in moving forwards. Really nothing for her to do right now. Gonna recall, probably has enough for that haunting guys now. Team is shoving up mid, but they have members to stop it. Somebody needs to be holding the Kassadin, but again, nothing really that Zyra support can do in that situation. In fact, their hands are kind of tied right now. Kassadin's pushing top, and there's really nothing they can get for it. Whenever somebody is making a play on one side of the map, you always need to be trying to do something on the other side of the map. This Pantheon has this Twitch's number. Goodness gracious. Good of Zyra to save the ultimate. Didn't have to pop it there. Even though she missed the root. Renekton's on the side, spotted out. Everyone's gonna fight, but you do not want to fight that. Assassin versus Renekton usually ends poorly. Kind of strange that nobody went to help her though. I think Zyra was paying attention. Could have had a root for her. Help her stay alive. Again, what are they gonna do? Ward is dead, but their jungler's dead. Not a lot they can do. Ideally, though, since she knows that most people are topside with the exception of Renekton, if she has the support of her team, she can get some vision control around Dragon. Red team, even though blue team has the turret advantage, red team has a vision advantage, which is pretty unfortunate for them. So once Renekton disappears, she realizes she can't actually get the vision. Actually, come on. Probably she didn't exhaust. She had faith. Getting the solo ult on the Renekton, but it's a better ult at least this time because she knows nobody else is coming. Low on mana. They have the numbers advantage. Try to get some final wards before backing, but then back and prepare for Dragon, which is coming up in 30 seconds. So seconds is not a bad time to back for it. Especially since the jungler is top, it would be really nice to be getting more pressure around the Dragon area. But junglers are dueling each other down there. That was a very strange Graves dive. I guess it worked, sort of, 1-for-1. With the junglers being dead, it's going to put a bit of a delay on the Dragon play, but red team is probably still going to get vision control first so that they can start it when the jungler comes up. They also have Renekton's teleport, and blue side is Pantheon teleport. There's the ping out calling for help to get vision control, and there's the Twitch. Rift Herald spawned probably because it was going to run out. Should be able to get a nice chunk on this. So this is an interesting use of the Rift Herald that I feel like I don't see too often, is they're trying to get vision control around Dragon. So spawning the Rift Herald top brings the enemy team over to the mid turret because they have to kill it before it gets two charges, or the charge and a couple attacks. The charge is going to do almost all this is health, all the health of this turret. So instead of going mid, Pantheon can stay mid. He can pressure it, but they know that the rest of the team is going to defend. So instead of going mid, what I'd really like to see is the blue team, especially Zyra, getting more control around the Baron. She has a pink ward. It needs to be putting it somewhere for this Baron that's coming. So got off a charge, got off a big burst, but again, there's nothing really they can do. They're walking around mid lane. No real reason for that. Evelyn, for some reason, is going top side to clear wolves instead of the dragon. It's an ocean dragon, which isn't prioritized the most, but it's still a solid dragon. She's coming over. Zyra's starting. Zyra is impatient, and she didn't back because she's on mana again. Getting the hunting guys again, pretty standard Zyra build. It's what I like to run as well. Gave up the dragon. Evelyn doesn't even get rage, despite. But again, they had the vision control, so they knew they could do it even without the jungler. Dark on Baron. They don't know where the enemy team is. Red side could be doing Baron. So This is something also that's really interesting, although I think... All right, they just spotted it. But right before that, this Graves was spotted, Zyra's left with a very interesting choice. It's all dark right here. They don't know where anyone is. Again, right before the Graves was spotted. He has a decision. Do I go try to ward the Baron, potentially face check a bunch of enemies, or do I not try to ward it and let them potentially get a free Baron? So the thought process is twofold, or it has a couple layers. You need to ask yourself, how quickly could they be doing it if they're on it? And they've got Graves, pretty good damage. Got Renekton, pretty good damage. They got a Blade of the Rune King Twitch, very good damage. So also a Brand, not too shabby damage on the Baron itself, or either, because that percent health damage. So they can do it pretty quickly, even though it's 20 minutes. But again, it's 20 minutes, so it's unlikely that they're going to be rushing it. What I would kind of do in this situation is kind of walk up this way. But once you get around here, which is the most likely ambush, right here, juke back and forth. One of the best things to do when you're face checking is to juke as if right where you think they would attack you if they were there. Juke back and forth a couple of times, kind of seed, and then pop the seed over the wall first because it's longer range, and then use your ward later once you find out that nobody's there. Also, one other thing you can do is the seed will give you a little bit of vision, but it'll go away very quickly. If you're really nervous and even after the seed you're worried that they might be there, you can use your Q on the seed, because a plant gives more vision than just a seed, and it will last for longer, or the plant doesn't last longer, but the larger vision lasts longer as well. Kind of some vision trips that are worth talking about here. Again, it doesn't even matter here because they did get spot these guys here, and and Twitch showed mid as well, so they know they're not doing it. They still need the vision, however. Why Zyra's over here? Again, that's kind of a reverse combo of what I was saying just now. She created a plant there because it gives much more vision. Look how much vision that gives. Actually, an absurd amount of vision. Gracious. Again, the sweeper plant is very good because it not only lets you see if the enemy is there, but also exposes their wards. And a really aggressive pink ward right here, not just getting vision, but saying, I want to make sure you guys don't have vision. Pink warding here is representative of wanting to shove forward and push her vision control forwards. Looks like is what she's trying to do. She sees enough people on the map, she's going to go for this ward, but it's pretty greedy. Having this ward is very nice though, because then you see them from a couple different avenues from where they can come, and you can kind of lie in wait. Syndra is in. This is questionable engage by Syndra. They know Renekton's bot side, and they know Pantheon is no longer in ultimate range. You could teleport, but it has a lot less impact than if you were ulting. Renekton is very likely coming up down here, and this Syndra is engaging on a Kassadin that she cannot burst down. Let's see what happens. So there's the Renekton, but luckily for blue team, Renekton doesn't know they're there. Watch Zyra's combos. I want to talk about team fighting here. Watch her combos. She should probably only EW this guy, saving her QW and an ult combo for the people that they know are coming across the wall. Popping the ultimate around here or something, and just using the root on the Renekton to protect the Ashe. Okay, so there's the let's slow this down. There's the E. Kind of what I thought. Twitch is on the side. She should I believe she has exhaust. Exhaust target. There's plenty of good ones. Friends flashing over. There's the Zyra ult. Pretty unimpactful Zyra ult. I would have really preferred to see it closer to the side. And they're turning onto the Twitch. No, they're not. Kind of fail flashes over there. Doesn't make it in time. She's definitely dead. And yeah, a great team fight. Perfectly honest. From Zyra, that is. Flashing into range to see this guy. Renekton is not something you want to meet. At the end of the day, it's a 3 for 4, maybe. He should get out just fine. 3 for 4. Zyra was pretty ineffective. She wasted her flash. She had an exhaust on the Twitch, but honestly, the exhaust was already over by then. Exhausting the Renekton, the Kassadin, or even the Brand, I believe would have had a higher effect. Pantheon still has his ult because, again, he had to teleport in to even get there. And Renekton has got enough health that diving is pretty darn easy. They're going to lose this turret, but they're gonna have priority in order to kind of get vision and set up the next stage of the game. So enemy team was low, they have to back. They can get vision on Baron and pressure mid turret potentially. If he sees the Brand, if Zyra were quicker, Zyra could have gone around this way and cut off the Brand. And kind of risky because they don't know where the other respawning members are. But yeah, there's Twitch there, for example. Something she could have done. So again, enemy team shoved because they won the fight, but then that means the enemy team has to back and blue team has a counter play that they can make. Top Baron control with top jungle vision and mid pressure would have been ideal. In fact, they're not going to be able to get too much mid as Pantheon was dead. Evelyn is farming jungle camps again. This Evelyn has been farming very, very hard. Nope. There, they got this mid turret because of the counterplay. League is all about counterplays. Jungler ganks top, you should do something bottom. Enemy team goes for dragon, you should do something top. You have more members, try to get turret pressure, wave advantage, wave shoving, try to get vision control, just all these little things, and you have to decide how much you can get. But you should always be trying to get something. Never recall for no reason. If your teammates are playing on the map, probably shouldn't recall. If you're recalling, your teammates they shouldn't be on the map, kind of vice versa. You know, it's all one big relationship on how you make calls. So she's got the Leandries, and looks like she's going for a Rylai's next. I'm not the biggest fan of Rylai's right now, but it's really nice if you don't want to get bursted down, and the enemy team has a lot of damage. So getting a Rylai's here is actually pretty solid, as solid as Rylai's buys go. Especially since nobody else has Rylai's. When you have 2 Rylai's on one team, very redundant, very back to prioritize vision on Baron, even though the teammate bottom. And this is what I like to see from the Zyra as a support. When they have pressure, when they have like an advantage this stage in the game, this is what I like to see. Playing around mid and top, especially if there's one of these inner turrets left, and doing Baron vision, kind of the Baron dance. So again, farming gold and poking him out a little bit. Leandries is gonna pretty nice in this situation, and getting forward. Also really risky to be going for that face check on this plant right here, because she doesn't know that Twitch isn't there, and she doesn't even have a ward to follow it up with. So kind of a high risk, low reward situation. Killing these wards, you can kill them if you want, but you don't actually have to. Oh man, a Kassadin should not have come forward into there. All right, so what do we have here right now? They have a numbers advantage. You might think, oh, let's go start Baron. We have a numbers advantage, but oh yeah, and Renekton doesn't have teleport, so it could seem like a great time to do Baron. However, you just start Baron, it could get stolen. You could die by getting low from the Baron. So what you need to do in this situation is bait. You can start it, but you have to turn. Make sure that they have no vision and try to pick someone off as they attempt to get vision. Their support is a Brand. He has no Frost Queen's Claim. He's very vulnerable. Plays around vision, and don't just start the Baron haphazardly. Baron can take away as well as give. Twitch's position is completely garbage. He should be dead for sure. And not the pick I was hoping for, but honestly, Twitch has been getting picked off so much. Renekton roamed way before the Pantheon, unfortunately. It was only a 2 for 1. Could have been better. But still a win. Again, jungler's too low, they can't really do Baron, but they can keep playing around vision because they have the numbers advantage. This guy is actually suiciding for the Ashe. Even if the Ashe dies, Graves is dead as well, which is going to increase their Baron pressure by a lot. However, again, since the Evelyn is low, there's not anything realistically that they can do there. A really aggressive flashes from red side here. I think the blue team loses this. The ideal call was just to, all right, get the Renekton GA at least. The ideal call was, oh, that's Pantheon GA, and they got the Renekton. Would be to play around Dragon. Keep your pink ward on Baron so you know if the enemy team is going for it. But play around Dragon when you have the jungler advantage. They'll probably get it anyway, but it's kind of a bit greedy. He's got stone play. I wonder who's going to go for Locket next. That's a really nice synergy. Doing this with no vision. Zyra was up here fighting instead of prepping for Dragon. Pretty risky, but works out here, especially when Evelyn doesn't have flash. Again, pinging on the Baron, because that's what you want to do. Mid game, you want to do two things. Play around turrets, play around Baron, play around Dragon. That's three things. Baron and Dragon are kind of... Pantheon going hard again. Got the spear canceled by the Brand. Zyra flashes, gets him, but the plant betrays her. Ashe betrays her too. The question mark ping of rage. Yeah, that was some question. That happens, and at the end of the day, it's only a 2-for-1 when it should have been better. So they're just kiting, playing safe, protecting the Ashe will do plenty of damage. That's a good trade. 2-for-1 again. They have two choices right here. They can either move towards pressuring inhibitor turret or playing around Baron. However, since they have no teleports and only Graves is up, playing around Baron could be tempting, but they have no tank, so they're going to get very, very low. It would be risky. Inhibitor is a safer play. They don't have a minion wave, so yep, Baron's their only play. And again, you don't always have to start the Baron. You don't always have to commit to the Baron. At the very least, play around vision, try to get a pick, see what you can grab. Through these wards. They need to take care of their waves as well. Top or bottom is going to slow push towards blue. Top is pushing very, very fast. So at the end of the day, you should always take something with a man advantage. Try to get some vision here, which was quickly swept away, and they're taking the time to manage their waves. Good. Better safe than sorry in almost all aspects of the league, especially in solo queue. Again, Zyra's gonna go back. Gonna sound like a broken record in this mid game because that's what you have to do. You have to play around Baron. You have to play around vision. You can't really force things too well as Zyra in this stage of the game. Where's that stun hit? They see the twitch. Back up. Gotta be careful. Game is stalling out because, again, this is something that happens very frequently to Zyra in the mid game and the late game, that she loses a lot of her playmaking potential that she has in the laning phase. Playing around vision. Oh, she can burst in the sky. Ooh. Oh. Oh, let's look at this again. Alright, so there's two things happening. One, they see the Twitch. Twitch isn't even Twitch isn't even up here yet. All right, they've got the greed going on. If you watch my stream very often, you see this all the time. Waiting in a brush, thinking, "Oh man, I can pick someone off," but it's 2v4. Even if you pick someone off, you're losing the fight afterwards. Your team is nowhere near helping you. So this right here, this is a Melyn move if I've ever seen it. It was not helping either. It gets the EW and says, "Oh man, look how much damage the EW hit for. If I walk forwards, I can combo him." But Renekton Graves are right there. You're gonna pop so quickly, and of course that is indeed what happens. And not to mention, they do overkill on the Twitch. Syndra ult and Zyra ult. Not need both of them, and now they are in great peril, losing the Baron. Luckily got a little bit of wards. Something that can also be nice under certain situations is to, when you control ward the Baron pit, to also normal ward it. A lot of times people won't sweep the Baron pit if there's a pink ward because they'll think, oh, there's just pink there. And ooh, they got baited. Remember when I said that you don't always have to start the Baron. Sometimes you can just bait it. Although blue team's making it work for them. Probably gonna be a good trade for blue team, even if Ashe doesn't get the kill. And wow, turned out really nice. Yeah, that I want to see how this transpired from red side's vision. So they know they have a mana advantage, but they are low. They don't want to be stuck in the pit when Pantheon ults. Furthermore, Pantheon Evelyn are going to have a lot of burst. It's an AD Evelyn. Not as much burst as AP, I think, but still pretty sizable. Oh, this is the worst thing that they do. They start Baron and run away. Kassadin took so much damage from the Baron just because they had split calls. So instead, they decided to go for an ambush. These guys are going for an ambush. This guy's going for Scuttlecraft. This guy's going for top wave. Big miscommunication is how that plan really died. Wait, it's... Oh, I said it was AD Evelyn. My things got mixed up again. No, it's not AD Evelyn. Just Protobelt and Runic Echoes. Evelyn gets some burst off, but dies pretty quickly. Ashe is pretty untouched. Ashe at level 15 is no slouch. Again, even if the Ashe died there, would have been good for them. Because red team, by all accounts, should have gotten some off of that kind of Baron bait or Baron play or the other. So the Rylai's is finished. Rylai's Leandries does have synergy. I think it is really kind of overemphasized, especially when you have your root to apply CC, your E plant to provide CC, your ultimate to provide CC, your Ashe auto attacks to provide CC, your Ashe ult to provide CC, your Ashe W, your Syndra stun, your Evelyn Iceborne Gauntlet, your Pantheon stun. Like, there are so many ways these people are going to be slowed that really Rylai's does not enhance Leandries that much. Most situations people take things by them in isolation, but you can't, nothing works in isolation. It's always important to be aware of other things that are happening. Again, going for vision controller on Baron. That's all this game is. Renekton teleported because he was really worried. The fast Renekton you have to watch. There's the play. Now that Kassadin's bottom. For a pick on a grave, she'd be able to kill him here. Syndra ults, but she saves the ult for a Twitch and one-shots him, which is nice. Pantheon's walking forth to kind of zone him out. Zyra is... I actually like what Zyra did there. Let's look at that again. Okay, so you get a pick with an Ashe arrow, which is good. See what Zyra's options are. Always have to watch where she places the ult and where she places her plants. So there's the pick. She doesn't have an E yet, so all she can do is kind of QW here. Now she could ultimate, but they don't know where the Twitch is. They don't know where the Kassadin's teleporting in. Well, I like that she saves it. So it's supposed to be a QW, but she didn't actually get the Q down. The secret was still there. It got stepped on. And as soon as the Twitch goes here, Syndra bursts her down. Zyra tops the Q, and again, still saving the ultimate. No great place to put it here. He is in a bad spot though. So second, as soon as this Kassadin jumps over, Zyra's got to use her spells because she's gonna die. No way really to get out of this unless... Actually, she could have also gone over it. Yeah, I would have actually liked to see her run away. Let the Ashe die. There's no way you're going to be able to deal with it. Run here to protect the Syndra and possibly escape. You can cut them off with your E ultimate combo instead of using it on the Kassadin, who has a lot of health and you're not realistically going to kill before dying. That being said, once she's in this position, Q ulting is the right call. Didn't even get the Q off. Got the W off though. Oh. Kind of an interesting team fight to try to get things as Zyra. I'd like to point out that that blue team hasn't gotten a turret in maybe like 10 minutes or something. Really hard to pressure these turrets without very good vision control, and the furthest vision they've ever gotten is right here. They've been fighting a lot, trying to make plays around Baron, but not able to actually get anything from it. Checking on the build. Amp Tome, probably going for a Void Staff, but long shot to even get there. Honestly, I would have preferred to stay and wait for a Blasting Wand, because you're not going to sell your pinks this early. And you're going to be sitting on this Amp Tome for a while. Better to sit on a Blasting Wand. You have to wait a little bit in order to get it. Again, what is Zyra doing? Playing around Baron. That's all she's gonna do. That's all she's done this entire game. All right, a little bit of team fight, but all vision control around Baron, and that's honestly what you have to do in this situation. Another Ashe pick, potentially. Twitch already opened up. I don't often recommend flashing forwards, but if she was gonna flash forward, this would be the time to potentially get Twitch. Now that he's kind of on the front. Oh my word! Did it? Oh, the same thing. That's really interesting. Yeah, it looks like a pretty good ult. It's probably only gonna... Actually, she doesn't even use the ult, which is the correct call. Saving the ult for when the enemy team dives into you. I like that, saving the ult. He was already dead since that landed. Now she can use the ult further on. It can be really tempting when you're forcing an engage to ult, but usually the ult gets wasted and the enemy team just runs away. A lot of times you want to use your ult to save it for a disengage. Graves is trying to cut off the wave here, but Syndra got stunned. This guy's dead. 100%. Now they can either go for Baron or they can go for mid turret. I think my throat is kind of dying right here. Fast forward a bit. They're going to get Baron. Nothing notable is going to happen. They're going to recall, they're going to push up the waves, they're going to set up, and they're going to... Until that happens, let's wait for it. One other note, by the way. The hotkey for... See how much gold they have. Zyra's sitting on some gold, could have a Blasting Wand. And goes for the dragon before their Baron push. Huh. Was a bit ambitious. So again, whenever you have a Baron buff, you want to prep your waves so that they aren't shoving into your turrets, and then pick a lane and siege. Potentially you can 4-1, you can 1-3-1. It looks like they're gonna group. You'll notice that Syndra's keeping mid-wave shoved in while bot lane is pressuring the turret, and they're gonna give this up. Not really defendable at this stage in the game. Playing around vision, this is a really great pink to have. Enemy team also has a similar pink. And just kind of pressure turret while going for picks. They got Syndra, they got Pantheon, they have a lot of pick potential. Again, enemy team's giving up. Giving up the inhibitor, since they already shoved mid wave, which is what you need to do. They're going to be able to get mid afterwards. What is that ultimate from Zyra? So Ashe tries to pick on the Kassadin. Kassadin Zonya's the Ashe arrow because he doesn't want to get hit. I'm gonna go ahead and call this one a zoning ultimate. Hopefully she has at least Q plants over here. I don't see any. Again, she used her ultimate to maybe zone these guys out, but has no plants, which is a pretty big mistake from her. Should be exhausting this Renekton. There it is. Just help the Ashe stay alive. Ashe does a lot of damage, and if these guys want to dive, they can, but your priority as Zyra is not to be diving, it's to be backing up your team. Or backing up your carries. Yeah, this game's over right now. And that's the game. So that was a game that was kind of boring. certain point of view, very vision centric, a lot of Baron baiting, a lot of team fighting. Hopefully it was instructional. My next VOD review is going to be focused on the laning phase to contrast this. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, you can leave them for me in the video description. The OPGG of this player is also in the video description. Check that out if you want to see what this Korean master player does. Thank you guys for watching, and may your enemies feel the thorns embrace.